Democratic presidential candidate Andrew Yang is. He has a plan that he says would change it. We talked to him about his plan a little while ago. So you make the case that these companies, take Amazon, but it could be Chevron, it could be GM, are profitable because of the investment the United States as taxpayers, in part, have given to them, and they're giving nothing in return. How do we fix this?
Yeah, and Amazon's the most egregious example, where they're now soaking up $20 billion in business and causing 30% of American malls and stores to close, and taxpayers are seeing zero in return. So if you look at what other advanced economies have done, they've figured this out. They've said, look, we need to have a mechanism in place so that Amazon's going to pay its fair share along with Netflix and Delta and these other companies that are paying zero in taxes. So what they've done is they've adopted a value-added tax, where then the American people would get a tiny slice of every Amazon sale, every Google search, and on and on. And it's very, very hard for companies like Amazon to game their way out of a value-added tax system.
Howdy y'all, welcome back to my second video. As you just heard, Andrew Yang has mentioned several times in pretty much all of his interviews actually that he plans on implementing a value-added tax. This is going to help pay for his freedom dividend as well as guarantee that large corporations such as Amazon, Google, GE, and others actually pay their fair share in federal taxes, specifically corporate income tax. So in this video, I'm just going to briefly go over what a VAT is, and I'll do a couple little drawings for you, and I'll make it as simple as humanly possible because people think it's complicated, but it really, really isn't once you break it down. So we'll start off here with what, I'm not the best drawer, so bear with me. We'll start off with a tree. So this would be the raw goods stage. So this, let's just put a value here of $100. Actually, hold on, let me do here $100. So here we're going to turn the raw goods, in this case the wood of the tree, into this is a chair, so just use your imagination a little bit. Okay, and then the chair is going to have a value of 500. It's an expensive chair. It's one of those fancy gamer chairs. And then we're going to have a distribution center, and then we're going to have the consumer themselves. Very happy consumer. I don't know why, because this thing's really expensive. And then this final value is going to be 1,000. They really like this thing. The VAT tax rate we're going to be using, because it's one that Andrew Yang himself has actually said he proposes, is 10% VAT. So the basic concept is at each stage, on this one for instance, you would have $10 of VAT. In this one, you'd have 50. And this one you'd have 100. Now, since there's already been a VAT placed on this one, you don't add that to the next one. Instead, you subtract it. So, for instance, you would do 50 minus 10 equals 40, and then here you would do 100 minus 50 equals 50. So you would take this number, and this number, and when you add those all up, you get 100. So $100 worth of value-added tax goes to the federal government. So that's the basis of the VAT. It really isn't any more complicated than that. Just a side note, Andrew Yang has specified that to make this not a regressive tax, that being a tax which harms the poor wage earners among the communities, what he would do is make sure that this is based solely upon luxury goods or more expensive goods. For instance, yachts, high-end computers, or sports cars, fancy automation devices, things like that. Things that the normal consumer can't purchase, or something that wouldn't harm people, such as foods, necessities, shelter, clothing, things like that. So this model still is incredibly accurate, like totally accurate. Just replace the tree with steel or aluminum, and then the chair with a sports car, and then up the values. But the actual mathematics itself doesn't change. So this is how that works. If you guys have any more questions about kind of how this works logistically, feel free to ask me any questions in the comments. And I appreciate y'all standing with me for my second video. And I will talk to you next time.